Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So my first ebook's done. You can go to my website, www.goodkarmasportfishing.com, and you can download it for free there. You'll see the information for the free download on the front page of the website. So I really appreciate the guys that have given me the feedback on the ebook. It's the first one. I'll put out another one here, within a few months with some more information. It's just a way for you guys to get to know me a little better. And there's some information in that book that I've never talked about in the podcast. So download it today. There's some funny stuff in there. You get to see some pictures of me walleye fishing on the Mississippi River. So, learning how to rig ballyhoo on my front porch of my old condo building. Oh my God, I think I even had some cigar minnows that day I was trying to rig and do all sorts of weird stuff with. But anyways, so on with today's podcast. Okay, so today it's going to be a quick podcast today. I want to talk to you guys about finding dolphin. Utilizing like Seymour maps, strike lines charts, and Google Earth. Finding dolphin, okay? Finding dolphin. Now, you have to remember it has a lot to do with current and how weed lines stack up. Now, to find those weed lines, those little patches of weed lines that form, you need to find out where the ridges are, okay? Where that current edges up against it. So, like 600 foot down in the Keys, that current will stack up against that drop right there, and then they'll set up a weed line. Now, there are spots out there in the deeper water where smaller weed lines are going to form based on what the current's doing. So it just depends on what the bottom's doing. So you guys need to really look at the Google Earth maps and see where those ridges are. And those can be small areas where there could be some little sargassum patches that have formed up that create these beautiful oases in the middle of nowhere. Those are my favorite spots. There's nobody there. Everybody's south. Everybody's fishing the rips. And all of a sudden, you come across a little ridge in the middle of out there, and you find an oasis with a small patch of weeds. Might be a log stuck in there, which is what we're all hoping for. So we all look like the hero at the end of the day with the triple tail, the wahoo, and the dolphin for that Insta picture. Now, one good example of this, I've posted this stuff before when I've hooked up with marlin, or I think with using Atlas Track, and you guys can see the tracks I've posted and the trenches of where the weed lines were. So you guys need to go back through my podcast. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are because that's up to you guys to find them. It's like I said, I buried them in there. And I posted some Google Earth maps where I've hooked up with marlin on certain areas where you found there's trenches out there where there's certain where the weed line lasted all through the trench, and that's where the marlin were at. So you need to go back and look, and you need to see the tracks. And I put those out there for you guys, or I put them out there for a reason to see if anybody would notice that, but nobody really did. So those were I looked around all day, and then if you look in that track right there and some of the tracks that I posted, those areas had the weed lines on them. So you'll see the holes also out there where you could possibly drop for golden tiles. And golden tiles, there tend to be in 750 out to 850 is a good area to look for those. You got to look on the Google Earth map to look for some holes. And I posted a picture using the Atlas. I love using the Atlas Track for tracking everything. So I come home, I look at the track for the day, I see where I found the fish, and it goes into a historical log. And that's just how it works. And I also use it for boat safety as well. So primarily for boat safety. But I use it a lot for fishing, and I've gathered over 2 years worth of data as far as drift patterns, dolphin fishing patterns. And that stuff is priceless. I mean, I have some awesome historical logs of where I've caught dolphin. So any boat tracker will do, but I prefer the Atlas Track. And now's a good time to start because you're going to start making those, going offshore, and all of a sudden you're going to find a weed line and you're going to catch some fish along it, and then you're going to go home and use your tracker, pull it up on Google Earth, and lo and behold, you may have found yourself a hole. That's how those things work. So it's just, I cannot tell you how many holes I found last year dolphin fishing, just with using a tracking system. Like I said, I use the Atlas track, but there's a lot of trackers out on the market. I just enjoy that one the most because it's really user friendly, and it does give you a really good overlay on Google Earth. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is that you may not be into bottom fishing. So Seymour Maps really does, and so does Strike Line. They really point you to the bottom. Now you may be into like deep dropping, and both of those charts do a really good job, as well as Google Earth, on showing you the holes that are out there. So, but if you really like the troll and you love the dolphin fish, I would highly recommend all those products because they're going to step up your game right away. But you got to learn how to use them and spend some time with them and get things clicking in your brain as far as the way currents move daily, and learn how if you learn how the currents move along different ridges out there, then you're going to be successful. So just keep that in mind. The current changes a lot out there, and it just doesn't move in one direction every day. It shifts, and I can't tell you how many times it shifts a lot, actually, because I have 2 years of historical logs. I can go back and say, oh my God, it moved this way this day, and this is the way the fish were moving. It's really just awesome to have this kind of technology that you can utilize. But yeah, so I guess I'll sum it up by saying that there's all these great tools out there, but what it really comes down to, great tools for finding fish, a lot of gadgets, more gadgets and more gadgets, and like I said earlier, I'm a gadget guy, but what it comes down to is actually fishing the spot and determining if there's fish there, not getting overwhelmed, because what those charts do is that they overwhelm you sometimes, and they give you so much area. You're like, oh, I need to be here. Oh, I need to be there. And it can kind of like lead you down a different path. So my advice is to utilize all the tools you can, but make some good decisions as far as what you plan on exploring, and plan your explorations around how much time you have on the water. That's what I recommend. It's hard for me to explain, but I think you guys are kind of getting the gist of it. Now, really utilize the Seymour, the Strike Line charts, and the Google Earth stuff for offshore fishing, because I feel they can really help you guys find dolphin this summer. Like I said, look for the ridges, see how the current's running, and on a day when you're out there and you're struggling in the deep water, pull up your map and say there's a ridge here, and go check it out. Because honestly, that type of stuff it really helps me when I'm out there dolphin fishing. And dolphin fishing, dolphin fishing is not that hard, guys. It's not. Anybody can be a hero out there. But there are some guys that are heroes all the time, and there's reasons behind that. There's reasons behind that one guy catching those fish consistently, not just once in a while. He catches them consistently. He knows where to be lucky at, okay, all the time, because he's got the bottom mapped out. That's how it works. And he knows where the weed lines are going to show up on different currents. It's just how it takes many years to learn how the ocean currents move, and there's ways to figure it out. But I've just given you guys some great tips on how to learn to be lucky at certain locations. So you can take it for what it's worth, and maybe that makes sense or maybe it doesn't, but utilize Strike Line charts, utilize Seymour Maps, utilize Google Earth, utilize a tracking system like Atlas Track, and with all that information there, you guys can learn how to be lucky on a consistent basis as well. on how to being lucky is like finding fish consistently. And by finding fish consistently, that's great, but you also gotta learn how to give them the bite when they're lockjaw. And there's all these other things that come into place. So, but anyways, finding fish is a start. Learning how to be lucky at certain places out there in the middle of the ocean is another. You can do that by utilizing the tools I just talked about and study the currents. And that starts with starting to create a log. Okay, create a log. Document, and then over time you'll start putting together the puzzle. That's all I got for you guys today. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram at goodkarmasportfishing_FL_keys. Download my free ebook, and you can find that on the front page. On the top of the front page, you'll see where you can download it at goodkarmasportfishing.com. And get involved in my private Facebook group. Now, it is private, and you do have to request an invite. The name of the group is the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. That's all I got for you guys today. Remember to leave the small dolphin for the boat behind you. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Thanks for tuning in, guys.